Sydney Sweeney just dumped her fiance, Jonathan Davino, and now she's wasted no time in getting with Glenn Powell, who was allegedly her romance back when they were filming Anyone But You. And she's also given a reason to the press as to why she decided to be single again. It's because she wants to focus on her girl boss career. And people are making all of these comments like, oh, the streets are calling. She wants to have a hoe phase. She's just like all the other broads. And
that's like that girl who got the $11,000 nose job and then divorced her husband.
I'll say with confidence, Sydney Sweeney is in no way like the other women. She's exceptional in pretty much every regard. She is richer, more attractive, smarter, that's for sure. More business savvy, also just more selfish. And this is not going to turn into some kind of fable that the moral at the end of the story is, you know, don't dump your fiance and don't have a hoe phase. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to pay off for her. But a source told People magazine the reason for Sydney Sweeney's split and calling off her wedding. They say she didn't feel right about it. She's not ready to settle down. They only lasted for this long because it was hard for her to break it off. They didn't split because there's no love. They split because she just wants to focus on her career right now.
That means she doesn't love him.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were together for a sickeningly long amount of time, and she went through a lot of life changes. She's way more successful than she was when she met him. Mm-hmm. Surpassed him in success. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was kind of batting out of his league by the time they broke up, basically. And she is correct that she has an extremely demanding career. And if she wants to prioritize that, then, yeah, like, marriage and a family is not going to be compatible with the level of movie stardom that she is headed towards right now. So if that's the value judgment she's made, I can't say she's wrong to prioritize it. It's just what you choose to prioritize.
Yeah. Do we know how long were they engaged?
I think since 2022.
Okay.
But they were together for much longer than that. So I think total they were together for like 6-7 years. Mm-hmm. She's 26 now, right? Or 27?
27, I think.
They got together when she was like 19. Yeah. So it was a long relationship. But obviously, even just between the ages of 19 and 26, you go through personality changes, but also her lifestyle completely turned upside down. And she became he became the weak link is what happened.
Okay.
And, you know, that's
so the money,
understandable.
So the money, wait, explain that.
Well, because she became the more famous, the more successful, the more financially stable.
I don't think
of
the
fame.
I don't think the fame matters because he's not a front-facing person. But so you're saying she's more financially successful, and what was the other one? You said she's more.
She
famous.
was also. I'm just gonna say she was the more attractive of the two of them from the beginning, but then she had the upper hand in all these other ways.
Okay.
And they probably have less in common now that her career has blown up. And, you know, I think that she would be right to make the judgment that, you know, you can choose between these two paths and prioritize one of them.
For the both of them, given how long they've been together, it would be interesting to know how much time they were spending together at all. I would have been happier.
Probably not much.
I would have been happier with something like, look, we just were not, like, it's not working anymore. Like, prioritizing the career, at what point? So does the man that she ends up settling down with, if she does, have to be of the same level of fame and success as her? Otherwise, it's not about prioritizing your career. It's about prioritizing what he isn't.
They say she's all about working right now, and she's very excited about all of her projects.
So I don't believe any of the press release stuff.
No? You think it's all fake?
No, well, it's like, I mean, I just don't see any reason to believe the press release when they're like, oh, this is all about working, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's a very boilerplate, easy excuse. You have no idea what their relationship was like on the inside.
Like, I don't know if I buy that. So
there's no reason to say that that's the case.
Like, I don't know if I buy that her being successful in Hollywood is the reason why they're breaking up. Like, that she's focusing on her career. With the money comes the advantages, meaning the ability to travel at will. He can go with her. It says he's not even a restaurateur. He's a business guy, meaning that he likely does his business from his phone, meaning that he can travel wherever he wants. If we're talking about some type of power imbalance in the relationship, that depends on how successful he actually is, which I don't actually know. I feel like she's coping. At least just a little bit. Like, I would say that it's less about the career and more that she wants out. And she's wanted out for a long time.
And this is a good reason on paper.
I don't even know if I buy that it's necessarily a good reason. I actually think a good reason is like, look, we grew apart. It's not working anymore. If we get married, we won't be happy. That is an actual reason. Career is cope. Ultra mega cope.
Career, I tend to agree.
But they grew apart
because the career worked. The career is actually something that makes it easier for you to be together. If you have a lot of success, yes, you're going to be busy, but he can, I mean, nowadays when it comes to like travel and stuff like that, if he does do his business from his phone and stuff, and it's mostly like meetings and emails and stuff, he can be where she is. I think it's more than just the
like she says in the Glamour interview. I'm a very successful independent woman who worked really, really hard. She has the DNA of somebody who doesn't want to get married. She has the DNA of somebody who is not interested in that lifestyle right now.
But she said also so many times too that she wants to be a mom and she like wants to get
just
married.
Not with him.
She said it so many times,
but
like,
not with him. More
than almost any other actress, especially of her generation.
Clearly not with him.
I mean,
but you say they grew apart. Well, they grew apart seemingly because of the demands of her.
Then that's because
job.
They didn't want to work at it. Right. Like, I'm not saying that that's easy, but that's the thing. Is like, okay, I was working a couple, like 6 months out of the year, right, on shoots. Now I'm working 12 months out of the year. Well, even 6 months out of the year, if what I'm supposed to believe is like 6 months out of the year they weren't around each other, that's already the death knell for most relationships. So if we're talking now it's a year, then that you're working year round, then you have to find ways to make it work. And the difference is she doesn't want to commit to the attachment that it causes, because it's more work than she'd want to put into it. But again, that's not about the job. That's about the relationship not being worth her time. And she's just packaging it in a way that's acceptable to feminists in modern day society.
Well, imagine being Jonathan Davino and you're the producer of this big rom-com with your fiance in it, anyone but you. You invested this money in it and you let her do all of these intimate scenes with this movie star, Glenn Powell. And there are all these rumors going around that her and Glenn Powell are having an affair, and everyone's making a big joke of it because, of course not. It's all a marketing tactic, right?
Glenn was in there from the beginning.
Literally
I buy it.
Days after the news of their breakup came out, she's seen with Glenn Powell in Dallas, and she is invited as his +1 to his sister's wedding, which ironically is like literally the plot of the rom-com. They were literally wedding guests together, and they hate each other at first, and then they fall in love.
She totally, I mean, all the stuff about work, that's all BS.
Yeah.
She likes this other guy.
She likes Glenn Powell.
And I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Okay, she's not gonna marry Glenn Powell. She's going to be single most of her 30s, or she will date in her 30s. She'll go from guy to guy to guy. She's going to be like, I don't know. I saw somebody mention Lindsay Lohan. She's going to settle down in her mid to late 30s with some dude who owns a tech company or some dude who owns some very, very successful brand. He will be he won't be a front-facing member of the public, but he will be very successful. She will be in her mid-30s, which means by that time she's gotten the length of her career using her looks. She's still going to be able to use her looks later on, but she will have those prime years where her looks drive her roles. She will push farther into producing, and then she will settle down with this guy. She'll still be working, but she will have gotten it all out of her system. But really what it was is she didn't want to marry this guy.
this specific
guy.
It's not. Yeah, I
it
guess
was
it's
comfortable
not-
when he was wealthy and she wasn't successful. It was a comfort to go home to it. But now that she doesn't need that comfort, she's casting him aside. And that I'm not even trying to frame that necessarily in a negative way. I'm saying they grew apart, but the cynical side of me says that now that I don't feel like I need him, I can cast him aside. I don't know if that's the case here. That could just
look,
be a
it's
cynical approach.
but it's
to it.
also true. Like it's the same thing. Like when a dude, if a dude's with a woman and like she's not the best looking woman when he's not successful, then he becomes extremely successful, and then he's like, man, I could find a better looking. It's the same thing.
And we've talked all the time about
hypergamy is the phrase.
There's this kind of in her situation is a little bit different because she's a celebrity, but there is a terminal illness in the world today of like the grass is always greener. People think I could always do just a little bit better. I deserve just a little bit more. And that's got everything to do with narcissism and self-obsession and nothing to do with the actual work that goes into building a loving relationship. And I would say that a lot of that is because most people don't think of it in the same way. Like nobody, most of the time, are dating to get married anyways. They're dating to pass the time.
Right. So, I mean, if she grew apart from him when she didn't need him anymore, didn't have like some kind of personal advantage, that means their relationship wasn't built on anything to last in the first place.
Yep. And
which would have been both their faults.
Yes. And the thing is, though, is he's not going to get anybody. Nobody's going to be coming to this dude's rescue. Like nobody's going to be taking this dude's
they'll
side.
both
Well,
be
no, I mean,
fine.
no. I'm saying like in conversations like this, people are generally the online right is going to champion Sydney Sweeney because the online right loves Sydney Sweeney.
Really? Because I'm seeing a lot of takes from the other perspective. They're saying that she's, actually
the
in the
online
wrong.
right is going to be like she's a woman.
They're saying she's in the wrong.
Yeah, but they won't hold that opinion because they'll
Actually,
then she'll wear a low cut top and they'll forget what they were talking about. So it won't
Colonel
matter.
Kurtz
we
had a
have-
take on this. She said, I've had about enough of the comments
She was
I'm
feisty
seeing
in this
about
one.
Sydney Sweeney just wanting to hoe around. She's hearing the call of the streets, etc. Y'all are effing idiot, sexist, are words.
Yeah.
All that happened here is the girl has just been hit with a 1 in a million ticket to a major movie star career that entails having zero spare time. I'm an unsuccessful wannabe YouTube star, and I can tell you that the level of busyness this entails is almost too much for my relationship of 15 years to handle. I can't even begin to comprehend how busy and impossible Sydney Sweeney's life is. Some of you guys are so embittered that you'll never get a woman of Sweeney's caliber to F you or date you, and that you don't know what else to do but insult her. And some of you women have been so brainwashed by the manosphere and its talk of hitting walls and such that you are backing up this dumb way of thinking.
This woman is a retard.
No, we love
We love Colonel Kurtz.
We love Colonel Kurtz.
Well, she's
And
wrong.
she is very
I mean,
smart.
look, she's wrong. She's wrong.
Okay,
Because she's like, like it's clearly about the business, blah, blah, blah. She's so busy, she can be, she can go to the other dude's wedding or go to the wedding with the other dude, right? She's so busy.
Well,
but
even
as
that's kind of
soon-
a work thing, though, too. You could think of that as well as like a work thing. Because they're in the same industry, because it's good for them both PR-wise.
I don't
That's
care.
why PR relationships
look.
exist.
No.
I love Colonel Kurtz. I think there's a little bit of a straw man argument at the end there.
What's the
about being mad that they'll never get a woman that will date like Sydney Sweeney that will date them. I think that's a little bit of a straw man.
Sydney Sweeney is like literally one in like 20 million, 1 in 50 million, 1 in 100 million. Of course they won't. Nobody will. Like,
well, that's kind of, it's a given, but it's not necessarily the reason why.
And
and that's part of
they're
why I'm
criticizing.
kind of
And
like,
if you
that's
wanna-
another part of the reason why this Colonel Kurtz person, I'm just like,
And
like,
if you
it's
want to
just-
make the argument to the contrary, there are plenty of Dolly Parton was married for like 40 gazillion years and was always working. And you could make tons of arguments to the contrary. But here's the thing. If she just wants to do it because she just doesn't think it's going to work and she wants to do just her job, that's fine. But don't blame the career. Say it wasn't working.
Yeah. Well, only time will tell. You know,
like you shouldn't marry somebody that you shouldn't marry somebody that you don't want, that you don't think it's going to work with, just because that's like sunken cost fallacy. That's like, we spent all this time together, we have to force ourselves to make it work. But I think that it's more likely that there was a safety net involved in being with this guy when she wasn't successful, and when that safety net was removed, she no longer felt that connection, or in this case, she didn't feel like she needed to be there anymore because she didn't need the safety net.
I sense that
I don't know though.
Like, a lot of people think Sydney Sweeney is an airhead.
No.
I can tell from her,
she's very smart.
The way that she conducts herself in her career and the foundations she's setting for her future financially, even now, she is not an idiot, and she knows exactly what she's doing. So I do hope it pays off for her, and it's good that she knows she can't have it all. That's a good thing that to be aware of at her age.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.